We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you. We'll be seeing you every Friday here at TFS. That foreign show. We'll be seeing you on that foreign show. We'll be seeing you.
Entrando por tus oídos hasta llegar al centro de tus emociones, ADR Networks está en este momento
activando tus sentidos.
ADR Networks presenta.
This is Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isa Crouch.
And this is...
Foreign Show!
On that foreign show.
Yo, what it do, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? This is TFS, That Foreign Show. My name is Isaac Rakesh, and you're on ADR Networks. This is activating your senses. All right, we're going to kick things off today with a very special segment on Insider. We want to talk about a company that specializes in audio. All right, they do audio and they do other stuff as well. All right, they do audio, illumination, they do lights, they do basically if you have an event and you want to set up the sound, right? These are the guys that you should talk to. All right, on Instagram, they are Marv Eventos. All right. We're going to put their Instagram page up for you guys. They are our insider segment for today. So go check them out, all right? You can also go and check out their website. And their website is marveventos.com, all right? If you go in, you can see all the stuff they do. They say they do events, they do sound, they do lights, they do specialized custom stuff for your events, whether social events, dance events, karaoke, How do we know this? How do I know this? Because we just did an event with them. And it was good. It's real good, yeah. Very professional. And people that we spoke to, the way they dealt with the stuff, the contact person, or the make sure, he called me, make sure, if I had the right stuff, the right cables, what kind of mixer I was going to use, stuff like that. And so very happy with these guys, and I think that you should check them out. You guys should check them out for sure, right? Marv Eventos. And the website is marveventos.com. Now look at that. You can see it pulled up. That's their Instagram page, right? Now you see PF Chang's over there. That's probably something they did a setup there for PF Chang's. Colorful, look, all kinds of events. Look at that, all kinds of events. Yeah, Celestine's in the house, baby.
Hello.
Here we go, TFS in full force.
Yeah, so like these guys, they will even provide like the sofas, let me just adjust. Okay, yeah, so they provide this, like if you want like whatever event you want, then they will like provide like the setup. I think they even get like the he also DJs, the owner of this company, and then he will like make the look however you want. So yeah, like a good contact to have, especially because he speaks English. And we worked with him 2 times, and we like the experience so far. So we thought it would be a good idea to introduce to you guys on Insider.
So for those of you that don't know, Insider segment is where we recommend some people, businesses, you know, that we like, that we stand by, that we've used before, or that their ethos matches ours, and we stand by them and we recommend them as part of our Insider segment. Why do we call it Insider? Because we're giving you some inside information, right? Some inside information to make your life a little bit easier, right?
Yes.
That's kind of what the idea is, right?
Exactly. And we pick, like, for example, right now we are sharing you these guys because we think that they are very they're good people to work with, responsible, easy to communicate with. And yeah, I think that if you need sound or somebody to just set up an entire event for you, which I feel like a lot of our friends would possibly do, like somebody take the headache away and do the organization as well in on some level, I think, yeah, you can go with these people.
Well, let me give you a bit of a quick brief about this. Like, cause we do music, as you know, Illuminary, right? So we've worked with sound people, you know, lots of different sound people, different companies, different methods, different styles, right? Some of these sound guys, you know, they like to be really hands-on, and that's pretty useful in some scenarios. Other cases, you get sound people who are not so helpful, you know, they kind of like, okay, they don't really find out what you want. But these guys are different, right? He made it a point to give me a call to find out what kind of equipment I have, what kind of mixer I'm hooking up, you know, what kind of speakers do I want, do I have the cables, you know, stuff like that. This is small things that make a big difference. All right, so today's going to be a special show, right?
Yes, we have our friends Steve and Nadia.
Yeah.
Like anytime now, let me see if they are already online actually. But basically, Nadia's Mexican and Steve is from America. But I mean, we thought it's as in they're a couple, but we thought it would be really cool even from Nadia's point of view, because even though she's Mexican, but she has like a strange affinity with the Chinese community so far, with like the culture, everything. And in fact, she is a very active participant in like Kung Fu and the recent Chinese New Year event. She was actually one of the main organizers. So like it would be interesting to hear her like viewpoint on all things Chinese cultural, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yes, if you were in Mexico City in the past week, you must have seen some posts online, or must have heard of this Chinese New Year event that was held, that is currently still going on at the Sina. All right, and Nadia was a point person. She organized that. It was like 11,000 people, right, at turnout.
Yeah, that's what she said. Like, yeah, we can ask her when she comes on. Yeah. So we can ask her, like, because this is the second annual event. So last year there was one, and we can ask her about it, and then yeah, find out the numbers and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, let me check if they are online already, and if they are, we can bring them in.
So, a love story from Mexico. Sounds romantic, eh?
Yeah, so Stephen and Nadia, from what we know, they met here in Mexico, and they met like because of film, because both of them are in the film industry. So yeah, like it would be great if they could tell us their love story.
Yeah. And while we wait for them, what was this thing you're saying about honorary? Did you say honorary Chinese person?
Yeah, I guess you can call her that honorary Chinese person. Yeah, because like she also looks Chinese. Like we've been doing like Yamados, which is over here like acting in like movies and commercials and all that, and they always put her with the Chinese people. They always put her with the Orientals, basically. Yeah, I mean it could be any Asian race. She could look Korean or Japanese or whatever, but it's yeah. she's always with the Asians. So yeah, it'll be interesting to hear how she has felt about being an honorary Asian.
While we wait for them, again, we want to shout out Mar Eventos. All right, you can check them out on Instagram. Check out their website. Use them. All right, try them out. If you have an event, you want to do karaoke in your house or something. You know what I'm saying. You want to do a small event like that. Just give them a call. Try them out, and then come on to our show and let us know what was it like. What was your experience like?
Okay, so it seems our guests are on, and we can welcome them to.
Hello.
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 Hi guys.
Hey,
So we have Steve and Nadia in the house.
hello.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hello.
good to see you. Honored to be here. Thank you for having us so much.
Thank you guys for coming on the show. All right, let's
Yeah.
jump right in. A love story from Mexico. And
That's what we're calling it. So
yeah.
film and romance. So you guys met through film, right? Like as in
Yes.
you connected through that. And then let's hear the love story, please.
That sounds like a film in itself. So please.
Well, we met at Distrital, a film festival that was going on in 2014. It's now, I think it's not existent anymore, but it used to be FICO, then Distrital. So it was one of the biggest Mexico City film festivals. And you came to present the first time.
Yeah, I was working with a nonprofit that I helped build in New York, in Brooklyn, called Union Docs. And we had been doing a multi-year project of community production. And that was in South Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And a lot of the residents were Spanish-speaking, Puerto Rican, Dominican, that type of thing. And so I was invited for this festival in Mexico City to speak a little bit about community filmmaking and alongside a couple other groups. And Nadia was friends with the festival and at various times had worked with the festival organizers and still good friends of ours to this day. But that was about 8 years ago. We
Yes.
had a spark
2014.
and found each other, and flash forward about 7 years to this time last year when we reunited. And basically the last couple of years during the pandemic, I had been fortunate to leave in the winter and work somewhere a little more warm than New York. And I went to Hawaii 2 years ago. And then last year I went to Mexico and reconnected with Nadia in the first week or so. And the rest is kind of history, but back here now and figuring out, being back and forth together. But yeah.
So 8 years ago, you said, so you passed the 7 year each mark by 1 year. That's a real thing, right? That's what people say is a real thing, right? Like, I mean, we've been together longer than we met, and is it a real thing?
Yeah, but they were together at that point, right? So they met, and then after that they met again 8 years later.
True.
Was that 7 years later?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I like how you're looking at it, though. Yeah. But so through the arts, through Mexico City, this was kind of like just a short-lived festival for a year or two, Distrital, but was very impactful, and a lot of those people work at Ficunam and other great festivals that are still happening here. So that was a good genesis, and since then I went to law school and am a entertainment attorney. I was actually on my way to law school after working about nine years in the industry.
That. I was like, what? Law school?
Which was
So entertainment attorney covers like everything. Do you cover music as well?
whatever's fun, entertainment.
Whatever's fun.
No, intellectual property we say sometimes, but the hard IP is more patent or science or tech, and I'm more the soft IP. Sometimes they say is art and ideas and copyright. So music and poetry and film and photography and those areas. Yeah.
Right. So okay, then last year when you guys met again, it was also at a film thing, or
No.
it was.
That was just hanging again. We tried to meet through film things a little bit, between the years when I was visiting, but stayed in touch. And then just got together for a date, right when I was here subletting with a film friend in Roma, and wasn't sure how long I was going to be around, just a few months. So
This is someone that that was working on your film project together with you.
It's a just a mutual friend in film by a great place in Tonala, which is a bit of a spiritual home for us and me in Roma. Great cinema that has a nice restaurant and bar and great place for conversations. And I had worked with the organization for a number of years in Brooklyn doing screenings and events, and so yeah. So we spent a lot of time around there last year, and now what I like to say is what I love about the pandemic, or what I appreciate about it, the silver linings type of thing, because never would I've been here, the kind of digital nomad, which is complicated term, but Mexico's been a COVID haven for many, for better or worse, and so yeah, just I think because of the time and because of the place and everything, it's managed to work, and so we ended up being here about just kind of back and forth every few months now, and figuring out the rest, but yeah.
So quick question: when you say spiritual home, is it because it's a place where people kind of just meet and share ideas and exchange, art, and is that called?
Or it was just personal?
In a way, yes, but also it's been like a home for you, right? Like JP, one of the owners,
co-founders,
he's a good friend, and I was working with him too in the festival. So like he's been a really good help for you too, right? Like
yeah, and I think past that, when you go to new cities, and Mexico City, is no exception. Just usually try to find people in art and politics, and I think had managed to have some really good experiences there, including a new film professional meetup that they're hosting called Cine Comuna with a K, and they're on Instagram, but that's kind of young film professionals networking, but also just really good screenings and conversations, and we kind of really privilege that in my cinema work in New York, and to see and experience that in Mexico was really great, and always going there you would see JP or some friends.
Yes, someone.
I have like I thought I remember you guys saying that you also met at last year's Chinese New Year thingy.
Yes.
Was that yeah? So yeah, maybe we can jump to Nadia real quick and talk a little bit about that.
Since we just had that too, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so like basically how has it been like entering into like the Chinese community, this cultural world, like, and also looking like a Chinese person? Do you actually feel like maybe like in a past life?
Yeah, exactly. I think basically it's been that, like, since I was young. I mean, even my pictures from baby, it's like, that looks like a Chinese baby or something, Asian baby. I got like the eyes. And then I've always been drawn to Asian cultures, like Japanese. I studied Japanese when I was a teenager. And
you did? Okay.
Yes, I know very little. There was no one to practice with, so that's archive. But then the martial arts, I always wanted to try martial arts, and Kung Fu especially, like Wushu. So that's been a path since the pandemic. Same, like I thought I had to travel there, but then I just found and met like a community, that Mexican community, that it's been doing that for a long time. So that was very special.
And so this Wushu Mexican community, are there actually Asians in there? Like, are there also Asians? Or
I think there might be like one or two.
Okay.
But really, I mean, in the Wushu, like the Asians are in the lion dance, or really traditional, more traditional things. Some like Shaolin may have, but most of it is Mexicans, like pure Mexicans. So that's interesting, because Kung Fu, like Wushu, came and the slums, like in the really poor neighborhoods, and it was more like to help themselves, like defense. Yes, as a protection. So then it's been lately, like 10 years from now, that it's been spreading out, like for everyone, sort of. So that's interesting.
Like I don't really know much about Wushu, but like when I see it practice, it looks really artistic. Like,
yes,
you actually do sparring with each other, or it's just the artistic movements?
It
like,
is
Good question. Sorry, I don't.
It is. So there's two versions. One is Taolu, is the one I practice, and it's formed, so they're really beautiful. And then when they tell you what you're doing, and oh, I'm breaking a leg. Oh, that looks artistic. But then there's the other. There is a sparring that it's Sanda, and that yes, it's not as beautiful as the other one, but it's still sort of fun. And yes, you basically combat to each other's.
Right. So you actually have sparring sessions and all
Yes.
that. But are they like do you get like do you improve by like belts, like belts or stuff like that? No.
No, I think that's the beautiful thing, and one of the things that call me from Wushu is the spirituality
Yeah.
about it, because
Okay.
it's so connected to the Zen, and it's not just about like fighting, like or forms. It's about improving yourself through the form, and also to well, in this case, to evolve. Like it is like I think Bruce Lee talked about it, like you you're fighting against yourself, like against the notion that you can't do some things. So it's more like that. And then also when you fight, you're not like fighting to the other, but you're using their strength. So there's Wing Chun, the one that Bruce Lee did.
Wing Chun, the Ip Man, right? That's the
Yeah.
Ip Man, right?
So
Right.
that unknown made it. So it's like a woman that uses the strength to another one. And when I train that, it's like, whoa, yes, I can kick some asses with that. So
Yeah.
So this is
And has Steve also joined you with
uh,
his
just
coach?
watching.
I'm a big fan and also really fascinated by it. And it's kind of interesting, as you said, like for Nadia to have that look of Asian, but then also to be very culturally Asian in the martial arts and the ramen and the, and to have those affinities and to be cast as Asian in Mexico City in all these commercials and movies. And it's quite special, quite cool and interesting.
yeah, she's famous. She's famous in the community of Oriental and also Orientals who do film work. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, that's funny. Even when doing the festival thing, when we first had the first meeting at the National Arts Center, they thought I was Chinese.
Yeah, and when we were at the Chinese New Year event, my Chinese friend thought you were Chinese. So.
Yes.
And even all the markets you go to, I feel like the Chinese or Singaporean or those sections always,
Yeah, I
give you a little
always
bit of attention.
have a good treatment by the Chinese community too. When you ask for Chinese food or you go and buy,
Oh, right.
they treat you well. Sometimes I'm like I don't understand what they say. They assume I may understand some of it.
It's like there's something about you that makes them feel that you're gonna take it seriously.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, that I understand them or something. So that's very special.
And so we met last year when Nadia was performing at the Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year at Sen Art, and with your group. And then this year you're one of the producers.
Yes.
And was a much expanded day, and that was quite interesting also because we had a lot of unfortunate, Asian hate, they would say in the U.S. the last couple of years during COVID and racism and stuff. So it was kind of moving to see that sentiment here, including even this Lunar New Year's in California, tragic shooting. But in any case, nice to see that communities coming together and you be a big part of that. And maybe you want to say more about the calligraphy and all the stuff that you're promoting.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of questions to ask.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions and a lot of interesting points. I wanna jump to you, Steve, for
Okay, well, I like that for me.
You earlier you mentioned. Can you tell us a bit about it sounds really exciting when you said you were showcasing the films that you worked on, right? And what's that like? I mean, that must be. Yeah, can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, a lot of fun. Well, that was a specific. I was lucky to work with a nonprofit organization that I helped build from 2009 to 2014 called Union Docs in Brooklyn. And there was a movie from the early 80s called Los Sures about the south side of Williamsburg and the Latino Latinx community there. That was about a 60-minute documentary. So as an organization, we found this kind of film that had been lost and not properly released, kind of before streaming services, and was not overly commercial. And we work with the New York Public Library and the filmmaker to kind of preserve and restore it, and then release it in HD. And in doing so, we made dozens of compendium films, some of them with original subjects of this movie, characters, and some with new characters in the neighborhood. So it was kind of community filmmaking, neighborhood filmmaking. And so I was kind of one of the producers working on that project, and facilitating all these shorts. Living Los Suris, you could find, been a few years since it launched, but a lot of those are out there. And yeah, that's amazing. I kind of, to that end, had been able to travel quite a bit for film festivals and film markets, and produced a handful of feature films and documentaries, and gotten to travel to a lot of places to present the work that I've been working on in different contexts. And that is always super meaningful, and something that I think people realize we really could take for granted. And Sundance just happening, right now, and over this last week, and a lot of friends getting together there. It's been, 2 years. And I was at the one 2 years ago with a couple of films, just before the pandemic started, but kind of a,
I'm putting your stuff here, like there's a whole bunch that we can talk about, but
the trailer,
but what is it like showing? Like, must be really exciting to kind of, like showcase your film, a film that you worked on in a showing like this, where your audience, correct me if I'm wrong, are kind of really interested in film, right? Or they come with their very,
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. It's kind of a universal way to talk about issues and experience and see different places. We saw a movie recently at Tonalá called The Territory, which is a Brazil indigenous struggle that was really, compelling. And I think that's kind of part of what we have. So I got to go to Nigeria and present films, and we showed the Los Suris there, and kind of talked about what gentrification could mean in Lagos, and just ways to get at conversations. And you kind of become an asset whenever you're in a different place, because I know U.S. films and independent, and being in Mexico, so have a lot of friends that are showcasing that work, and also able to absorb and take in a lot of work here, and is a big goal moving forward. I would say to do more co-productions, and I think the world's getting a lot smaller, and a lot of the filmmakers that are scrapping together. We saw you had a friend and collaborator, Matt Porterfield, recently, who worked with a number of years, but people that are finding new models to bring state funding in, and hard to get these movies made. But Mexico's a really booming cinema market, and just a great place to be in the mix with all that.
I know you want to ask something, but let me just ask one more question, man. Now that you mentioned this stuff, I'm even looking at my post-it notes here, because like some of the stuff that you mentioned, this medium, like what you said, this medium allows you to kind of deal with or address issues kind of universally, right? That is so. I forgot my question, man. I was distracted by it. But seriously, that is something that is very powerful. Like, because sometimes when you are trying to affect change, and you're directly addressing it, or the people that you want to change, and giving them direct instruction, it doesn't work, right? I mean,
there's a movie called Policia Película, a cop movie, from Mexico, from last year, that was Netflix release, and documentary, kind of a doc fiction, but that looked at police officers, and I think they used the form in interesting ways, and they showed industry that has a lot of corruption, but also a lot of humans that are working, and families of cops, and trying to do what do what they can. But a lot of times, same in Lagos, we showed Kurosawa, and we talked about government power, and you can talk about something or show something less direct, or be creative in the form. I was in Vietnam a couple of years ago also, and they had a hard time, with censorship, making films that were, free and politically engaged. And so, we think about being very lucky with the high bar for freedom of speech in the U.S. and the freedom to be critical, and I think that transcends as a kind of universal way that people can connect and dialogue.
But these cops, the police that you're talking about like Nigerian.
This was Mexico City. This was Mexico police, Policia, and from a great company called No Fiction. But again, they kind of used the hybrid doc and fiction and had reenactments, and these actors sign up for Police Academy and use their cell phones and do like diaries. So they use the medium in a way to talk about something. If you made a documentary about corruption,
man, it's like guerrilla gangster style, right?
Level, it wouldn't. It would be, it's really hard. So I think you can get around, things that are not always easy to address by being creative.
Great. Like, could you tell us a little bit about the trailer that you sent us? Because anytime now, I've told the production to play it, so maybe we could get like some background about it.
Oh, sure. So I just sent a couple on. One is called Matni, towards the ocean, towards the shore, and that's young indigenous man and woman, just friends, basically the filmmaker Sky Hapinka. I was a producer on that project, but they're in the Pacific Northwest, and they're kind of navigating young adulthood and having children or not, and these questions. So that's a feature documentary, which was at Sundance 2 years ago, and they kind of take the Chinookian origin and creation stories like the backdrop of the film, and to kind of show these people. And the second one is called Cane Fire, and that is a creative documentary as well, and another one that I was on the producing team for, and that's a Hawaii story, kind of looking at the labor history of the island, and at Kauai more specifically, but kind of about how there was a lot of migrants that came over to build up the island, and along with the local indigenous communities there, have a hard time living in Hawaii today next to a lot of the McMansions, and how that island has transformed. So that one is interesting because it uses a lot of Hollywood clips to illustrate.
All right, so they're gonna play.
Here it is. Get the audio if you can.
Okay. Wait. Let me.
You're good. So this is an essay collage movie that has some interviews, but it takes dozens of clips from Hollywood films, and kind of uses them as source material. Cane Fire, to kind of show this labor history. Yeah.
And the first movie that you mentioned, I mean, the whole concept of reincarnation, like, right? And where do we go, right? Like, think about, are you going back to the ocean, or are you coming from the ocean, and which way you go? I mean, it's like, right?
Yeah, like that.
And
I've been lucky to work with a lot of indigenous artists in the U.S. and internationally, and I think that's been very important for.
Pack your things.
Right.
Coming
All right, here we go.
Kauai.
How far is it to Honolulu or Waikiki?
About 100 miles southeast, another island.
We always end up 100 miles from the main attraction.
When you hire the extras, you hire a lot of local people. They're not the lead actors. Walking background kind,
Walking background kind.
The place has a complicated history, and there are a lot of stories that haven't been told. Our existence threatens their existence.
When I was 7 years old, my dad told me before he died, Diamond does it. They hire you and they can fire you. They used us.
Yo, where can we watch this?
That was on Criterion Channel. It should be on wherever movies are available soon, streaming on Netflix and Vimeo and Apple and YouTube. But that just had a commercial release the very end of last year, started this year digitally. So yeah, and hopefully we can get a screening in Mexico with the filmmaker at some point. Would be fun.
Awesome. So you are planning to do like a lot more projects right here in Mexico, right?
That's the goal. That's the hope. Yeah. Yeah. And it's going to be interesting. Always we were working with other organizations in New York as a small nonprofit to pool resources. So when there was a big filmmaker coming from Singapore, for example, for Tribeca or something, we would, talk with Tribeca and do an event like a workshop or, so it's nice getting into the groove here and meeting some of the cultural that the Cineteca and different places to see what's possible, because I think that's how you make it work. You don't have a lot of resources and with people like Matt and others that that have networks to try to bring filmmakers and workshops and projects. Yeah, and Nadia is also director and actor and
yes,
film writer.
Segue. I was just about to jump back to Nadia. Yeah. Can you Nadia? Can you tell us a bit about your filmmaking?
Yeah, your experience.
Yeah, the films that Steve mentioned, like, can kind of get a feel, like what about like?
I mean, I've seen that you're also credited like on IMDb for a few different things, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so you have a lot of different parts of like production.
Yes. Yeah, I've tried most of it, but I started with animation and it was a movie, like animated movie, like when I was 17. That was pretty fun, but then I realized animating 2D was not my thing completely. But yes, the creative process. So I've always been drawn to it with my twin sister. So
Yeah.
in film school it's interesting because we did some productions and I sort of stayed in the production part because when you're working with teams is also, I mean, I'm good with it even though I would like to direct. I'm always good like managing, directing and doing and making things happen. So sort of you start with one thing and then everyone calls you for the same thing in the industry. So yeah, we directed like one short film that was in the Echo Film Festival. But yeah, we're now like trying to finish our first feature film.
Feature like documentary.
Yeah, documentary. That
right.
we
you're already on that one.
Yes,
they have a shot.
We shot it like years ago, and it's sort of the same. Like we shot like with some dancers, like concheros, the traditional Mexican dancers. So it's sort of goes through the like explores the what happened with the indigenous Mexican like Aztec like roots of what our goddess was like or gods and how they sort of started praying to the Catholics and how it all mixed together because at the end when you go to all these festivities they're still calling Maria Tonantzin, they're still calling like it's really interesting.
Yeah, sounds really interesting.
That brings up this thing about like, I mean, you're talking a bit about cultural erosion.
Yes.
In a way, right?
Yes, a bit.
This thing, I got one of my sticky notes. Basically, I saw this advert. Right, it's a commercial for I don't know if I can't remember if it was Google or something. One of those, right? It's just a commercial that played on YouTube, and it was in Spanish, and the whole setup was a barber shop in not in Mexico City, but somewhere where you find native peoples around. But the dialogue and everything was the jokes, the sense of humor and everything was very, like, for lack of a better word, very Hollywood. And as filmmakers, like, what do you guys feel about that whole thing? Like, there's this whole local culture, full and juicy and incubated and thick and nice, versus this international Hollywood American thing that somehow seems to be, you know what I'm saying? Like how,
I get a lot of bittersweet feelings about it because I mean, in a way, it has exposure, but most of the times it's like profiting out of it, not really giving. It is like taking it away from it. I think we've seen that happening a lot in Mexico, like with the Day of the Dead. In many different movies, you see it portrayed also amazing, and it's a tradition. It's not a parade, so people. It's not like celebrating it as a feast, but more as a tradition that we've been like bringing from generations. So that feels like out of it. It's like completely separate. It's another thing. It's a Hollywood thing now.
And I think we're interested in local stories, and
Yes.
with Matt, one of the things we'd say sometimes was accessing the global or the universal through the hyper local, and Baltimore is less on screen than New York or LA, you'd say, and there's always challenging history of who gets to make media, who's holding the camera or owning the distribution stations or these things, and it's typically not a lot of these communities whose stories have been mined and extracted, and we look a lot at power dynamics and representation in indigenous media with friends and artists that I've worked with in the U.S. They have a traveling show they've done that I've gotten to participate with, sometimes called anti-ethnography, and kind of trying to turn some of these notions on its head. And I think it is a double-edged sword here in Mexico, because they have most of our friends are on Amazon, Netflix, big streaming projects, and quite busy. And there's an economy there, but then there's also a responsibility, and how are these productions going? Who's getting taken care of while they're being made, and then afterwards, and what are those effects? And they can be kind of hard to calculate or figure out, but always very important questions.
So, this is that foreign show, so we definitely need to ask you, Steve. Sorry. How do you feel so far, living in Mexico, and in terms of doing art, and even doing, you are a lawyer, so you've been working remotely and all that. So just your thoughts on living in Mexico.
It's been really good, and really productive, and I think I need to learn Spanish more quickly, and that's an important thing, obviously, here, and have courses a couple times a week, but can't get that quick enough, because it's obviously foundational for how you connect with people. And I'm in a pretty different rhythm here. You see our house in kind of the north part of Mexico City, but was in the center near Roma and stuff last year, and so there was a lot of English and a lot of international folks, and here very much not the case, and then that's kind of a blessing, I would say, to be forced to listen more and watch more and practice more, because I think people tend to get lazy otherwise, I think it's funny. There's a cultural thing where you have to know how to work with people, and I'm fortunate to have spent some good time here and around the world, and so I have to be very strict and tight with a lot of the legal stuff, but sometimes things are a little more handshake or friends and family in certain places, and so you factor that in when you need to, and kind of just bridge those gaps. But it's been really super welcoming, and very encouraging, I would say, to be here. And I worry about Mexico as a place, and their resources and people, and there's big articles, Mexico's the new China and stuff in New York Times, and with manufacturing and with everything, there's always a degree of exploitation, and kind of what are you giving up in welcoming these people, and there's this kind of hyper gentrification, a lot of people buying places here, and these things. So something to be mindful of, but fortunate, and I don't know, the U.S. and Mexico have a very intertwined history. That's something we've been thinking about, and is very interesting. And there's these borders and these tough historical decisions and past, but there's a lot of people that are back and forth for forever, and kind of encouraging.
And even you guys too, you mentioned that you're going to be taking a trip to New York sometime soon, right?
It's New York.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
Nadia's going to go to get her business English proficient, and we're both entrepreneurs. We both have our own companies, so that was a big thing, to have a law office and production company, and be able to be mobile with that, and not much of a better home for me than Mexico City, and I'm licensed in New York and LA for the legal, so it's a nice in between. But you can do your business
Great, and more people need to hear this, the story of entrepreneur, story of bosses
Yeah,
and
yeah.
people who are, in a sense, taking control of their own artistic destiny
Yes.
Yeah.
slash financial as well, right?
You should talk a little bit about Nadia's business, like
Yeah.
in the makeup in Sadva.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me tell them put it up. And,
Yeah, this is something that this something you're really passionate about, right? Like, can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, well, aside from the film, when you're behind the camera, you don't care about your looks. You can wear the same shirt like for a week.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
But then when we started to go more into acting, then they really they pay you for your look basically. So then we started to have makeup, and I had a really sensitive skin, so makeup was never my good friend. So by that time, I remember like one of my side passions were like ecology and natural things, So started to do like my deodorant, my shampoo. That didn't work out so well. There's people that does it better, but like doing things like moisturizers, toothpaste, everything. We started to do it ourselves because basically for me it's like the impact of what comes into you, not just like food, also all that nurtures, even like what you consume. And with makeup was a challenge because by that time it was like 7 years ago maybe or more. There was not like a good brand in Mexico, like Mexican brand, like you could get like natural, organic, and sustainable makeup. That was not the case. If you get something natural, it will be super expensive.
Yeah.
It will be imported, and it will be with all lots of packaging. Like that, it's one of the things that.
And most of the time it's like 90%, 90+% organic only, not 100%.
Yes, exactly. It is like, and it has to do a lot about like how they distribute it. If you're getting it from far away, of course they have to put additives so they like last longer and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
your stuff is like
completely
completely natural.
Natural.
Yes, like we have mineral powders that wouldn't come as organic because they're mineral, so they come from the earth. But most all of other things are really organic. So and we try to like to buy from like small producers, like fair trade, all that to sustain also like the economy and Mexico, like
and
to
even
make
the containers that it comes in and everything you
Yes.
saw like completely organic, right?
Yes, the sample you gave us, the one that we had. Okay, that is a
factory here.
Yes.
And that Nadia's twin and our
Anai.
in Valle de Bravo.
Shout out to Anai. Thank you for watching the show, Anai.
I like her on Instagram. Hopefully she watches. Yeah.
they have a zero waste restaurant called Pawa in Valle de Bravo, and that also
yes, it's zero waste.
it's a sibling I guess idea, and a lot of it is women empowerment and indigenous as well as the environment and natural
sustainable. So that's basically the core of all that we try to do. That he has to nurture. Like for me, one of the definition of ecology that really rang the bell, and that was why I stayed in it, is because it's something that nurtures your community, like not just you. When you're ecological, you're sustaining and nurturing everything else around you. So that's why ecological means that you're not producing more waste. Actually, you're trying to avoid it, or if you can add to the nature, earth, whatever, that's the goal. So when I found like my niche, I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm sticking. Even if I do films, even whatever I do, it has to be ecological. It has to be conscious about the environment, the society, everything. And
it's really hardcore. Yeah. I thought I was like progressive and responsible, but they're very zero waste, and every, as you said, an ecosystem. Every person you work
You're
with.
really in the future. That's future stuff. Like seriously, just keep doing that. Just keep doing that. The rest of it will catch up. Yeah.
I mean, like me from Singapore, like I was definitely, or I was doing all organic as well. Like like makeup, we had a lot of like Korean brands that was completely organic, and then coming here, there wasn't anything like except if you go to Sephora and you get like the very expensive ones, and Sephora also wasn't that near to where I usually am, so. Like then I would just like like get the oils and the what anything organic I can and just like whack on my face. My own facials.
Make your own.
Yeah, make my own everything. So it was very heartening to see your brand come to life, because like, it's also for like celebrating your natural beauty and all that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Not to change, not to be like super made up, super like the makeup is to enhance and so Safa,
there we go.
here we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us, thank you. This is TFS. That
Guys,
Foreign
could
Show.
you scroll it if you don't mind?
And what you're looking
Ricardo,
at
yeah, thank you.
is the Instagram page of Satva.
It looks so nice. I like it very much. The whole like aesthetic and stuff.
And this is
the perks of being filmmakers and then the publicity too, right?
Yeah. And so if someone wants
like
to
the model.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, so the brushes are like one of the newer things, right? Like like it's also completely made with like
it's bamboo. Yeah, bamboo. Like it's the most sustainable thing we could find. The idea eventually, but it's with investment, and when you grow bigger, you can do more things and have more impact. Will be to have to make our own, but now it's the best we could get and still pretty good. Like it's organic. I mean, it's bamboo, so you can half of it you can recycle or.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you make a brush like from bamboo? Like
that's a question. Well, I'm wondering how completely sustainable is that, but it's the best we could get. The idea will be to make it from I don't know, like for me it will be like waste of things, if it's like the avocado seeds or like all those things that are very around and that no one's using them, but that needs a huge technology. So for now I think we're good.
Ingredients of all the makeup items, they are like local, right? Like as in the Mexican fruits, and it like the red color is from the Mexican fruits and stuff.
Yes,
right?
It's from beetroot. It's
from beetroot. Okay.
Yes, and when like the lipsticks we tried around with blueberry and strawberry.
I didn't know about lipsticks. Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
We can give you a sample. So that's like sort of new. We're starting like still to see how they do around. This is harder to, but yeah, the idea is to get from fruits so the foundation, the powder foundation is mainly cacao and corn. So it's like very Mexican. And the cacao nut we get it from it's like a community of women in Oaxaca. So they produce the cacao like old woman, and there's like it's organic, although not certified. It's like all fair trade, and they don't have any chemicals to the earth.
Supporting like the women that are making this as well.
Yes, and that sustains with the restaurant, because some of our producers, like we share producers, like we had some, they're finding more, and then we sharing them, and then we get good deals and all that. So it's creating also a community around it. So that's very powerful and beautiful.
Right.
It's powerful and beautiful. Yes, completely. Yeah, and it's like you get this feeling of like in fact this team that we were talking with Matt about on the previous show also about this DIY kind of ethos, or like a incubating, or kind of like a self-sufficiency and kind of inclusivity with your community.
Yes.
that kind of thing.
Yes.
And yeah, just this quick thing about waste and about waste reduction. Like, I mean, it's crazy. Like, if you think about the amount of trash that just one household generates, like
Yes.
we live in an apartment complex. I'm not sure how many apartments there are here. Maybe I don't know, 50 or 60 apartments or something. And my apartment generates a lot of trash. You know what I'm saying? And we take out the trash like once every 2 days. It's crazy. I mean, like, where is this trash
We have
going?
like a huge
And
dustbin, so yeah,
yeah, once every 2 days. And then you think about the plastic bags that you use to dump the trash, And then you think about, we are one apartment.
Imagine everyone. Yeah.
And so much delivery and plastic and food and
Yeah, he's now getting used to bringing our own topper. Like I always bring my bags, my things that if you end up getting a snack, you say, "Oh, put it in my bag," or "Oh, the skitters," or anything. You just we had our topper, everything. So yeah, it's also a bit of a lifestyle that little by little accommodates into your life. So it's little changes.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're
down to our last
we're
few
actually
minutes.
down to like 3 minutes. I thought we had more time. There's so much more stuff. Can we invite you guys to come back on the show, because there's some stuff that we want to talk about also. Like, we haven't got to like the whole filmmaking.
Of course.
Oh, yes.
That'd be fun.
And
right.
yeah.
So we have to end already.
Yeah.
The production has started to tell us that. So our tagline is Activando tus sentidos, or in English, activating your senses. We could say it together. I'm signing out, Celestine Angel.
Isaac Rakesh.
Steve.
Thank you guys so much. There's so much you've given us to digest.
Thanks for all you do. Thanks for this show. It's really inspiring, and I think the idea of being a foreigner, and examining that is really clever to do in this platform. So we really appreciate everything you're doing here and to be a part of it.
Thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. And we'll see you on Sunday with the ball.
Oh, yes.
See.
Thank you to all who joined us here on That Foreign Show. It's been awesome. I'm Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Crouch, and we'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend, y'all.
Entrando por tus oídos hasta llegar al centro de tus emociones, ADR Networks está en este momento
activando tus sentidos.
That Foreign Show.